here we are in the era of AI, and there have been some unintended consequences. They call us failures, but it's really not failures. It's unintended consequences of introducing and implementing AI at scale. These failures, they're rooted in flawed information. And I have a couple of case studies here. I have the links in the end of this presentation if anybody wants to follow up and read more about this. We've already seen what happens when some of these systems go amok. Bias in hiring, discrimination in lending, errors in facial recognition. I mean, some of these could be, really affect people's lives in the worst way. I mean, they're not just technical failures. Again, they're failures of information. What data was used, how it was interpreted, and what context was missing. Responsible AI. And now we're here. This is the moment that we're in. It's a governance response in many ways. This is where responsible AI kind of emerged from, not as a trend, but as a response to real harm, as I had shown in the previous slide. The principles are familiar: fairness, transparency, accountability, privacy. These are not engineering concepts, they're governance concepts. Take a little diversion here into the EU AI Act. I think some others have probably talked about this, but I mention it here because it's related to this concept of responsible AI. You actually see roles in corporations now for a responsible AI leader, and it's important to talk about this regulation as not only being the first, but probably the most systemic and the most sort of global reach that's affecting how corporations respond to the implementation of AI. So it's the first major attempt to regulate AI at scale. It's important to understand how it does this. It's introducing a risk-based framework. At the highest level, there are just simply some systems that are totally prohibited. Others are classified as high risk and heavily regulated. This is what most companies are struggling with now. Like, how do you determine whether or not something's high risk? What do you do? What are the guardrails and controls around it? The rest fall into lower risk categories with lighter requirements. So that's what most of us probably use in our day-to-day, is the generative tools and Copilot and Gemini and so forth. The key idea is the higher the risk to people, the stricter the rules. Again, it also emphasizes transparency, accountability, human oversight. And this matters not just if you're operating in Europe, but globally. And this regulation will definitely shape how AI is built and governed worldwide, much like, if you remember, the GDPR and what that did for data privacy, is sort of set a de facto standard. And the EU AI Act is likely to follow the same path.